two type of women in this world: Jessicas and Anastasias. Jessicas are horrible, entitled bitches. Can't do it, Al.
Go on,
I can't do it, mate.
That was
You've
good.
got to do it, mate. I can't do it.
What's Anastasia?
I can't be you. Anastasia is a beautiful and caring, lovely, feminine woman. You do the intro, bro. You've got more of the charisma and personality for it.
Okay. Jessica is gross. Look at her. Why is she being so masculine and so hostile and so cold? Why does she keep disrespecting her man? You don't want to date a Jessica. You would love to date Anastasia, the perfect, feminine, beautiful woman. I've been in Thailand for about 5 weeks now. Before I came here, I did hear a lot from like YouTubers and like the red pill sort of alpha male space about Western women being being a certain way, being cold and disrespectful and masculine, and I somewhat agreed with that without really having the experience of a different kind of culture of dating and sex. And so I wanted to speak about the differences that I've seen so far in the women here and the dating marketplace here compared to my experience in the UK. And Jack, you've been here for like what?
6 months
6
now.
months.
Yeah, 6 months, and it's just flipped my world upside down in terms of how I view women.
Why?
It's just you don't realise when you've grown up and lived in the West, you don't realise the calibre of women that are still out there. I'd put it more like this: like, I've met really good women in the West. Don't get me wrong, there's amazing women there, but they're diamonds in the rough. They're hard to find, just because I think of how we're kind of raised in the West at the moment is the fact that there's a lot of toxic feminism. Men are emasculated, and women are trying to become more and more masculine by having careers, and that's definitely a good thing for some of them. But for the most part, I think it does make women slightly unhappier, and it means that they're not able to be as feminine. They don't have a man that actually makes them feel something and is able to look after them. And it's made men a lot more likely to become Jeffreys rather than Adonis. When you come out here to Thailand, women are very much more in touch with their traditional roles. And personally, I don't feel like that's a bad thing. I feel like these women are incredibly feminine, and they bring out the gentleman in me. They bring out the masculine man. When you don't have a girl that's constantly trying that sort of sarcastic banter with you and trying to like kind of put you down, as I found a lot of Western women did. Not all of them, reiterate that, not all of them. I've met good Western women as well, but the majority will try and just put you down. I don't think it's their fault either. It's just a misunderstanding of our gender roles and kind of a bit of craziness in regards to feminism and how that's blowing up in the UK and in America as well. And the women here, that hasn't spread yet. So they're very much more traditional. They treat men a lot better. They're so much more open from the beginning. I think you found that as well, haven't you?
Yeah, that's one of the things I've been saying. A realization I had is this place seems very, very open and authentic. It was kind of like a visualization I had of the game that's played in my experience of UK dating in UK, which is kind of like you're starting off and it's a race to be less emotionally invested. Did you feel that?
100%, bro. Not in all of my relationships.
Yeah, not in all, but in a fair amount of them.
Definitely on the dating scene, like you said.
Yeah, so when you're on Tinder, when you meet, obviously like Tinder's not going to bring like great quality, but just in general, you're meeting someone from cold approach, from Tinder, from nightclubs, from walking around, from warm approach, social circle and everything. There was always this kind of game that's being played that I would really see through now that I'm not seeing it here, where it would kind of be like you and this girl would both act like you were like too cool for each other up until by like the odds that you actually connect, and at that point a lot of like the veil is pulled back and you realize how important relationships and love are, and you two connect really well. And at least for me, a big part of my experience with relationships is the dynamic of like masculine and feminine. It's something I think about a lot, something I read books on. And so it's this constant dynamic that I've experienced, which is so sad, which I'll meet a girl who somewhat has a bit of a cold vibe, but I'll take her on a date, we'll warm up to each other, and eventually we get like more and more serious, we fall in love. It's so beautiful, and I see like the beautiful feminine side to her really come out because we talk about these things, and I read books on like feminine energy, masculine energy. It's usually one of the first times like a guy or anyone at all has kind of said to this girl like, oh yeah, this is what feminine energy is like. That thing inside of you which wants to be like this is not weird, it's actually normal. And you see them grow and prosper and blossom into like these beautiful feminine beings. It makes me feel amazing. They seem so happy. And then the worst part about this is that when there is some kind of like break in the relationship and we're no longer together, I kind of see her sort of like regress back into the societal conditions of like being more masculine.
Yeah.
And it's incredibly sad to see, and it always just makes me really sad because I see like, oh well, I don't know which part of you is inauthentic then, and I think it is the part which is more masculine. I think it's the part which is conditioned by society, because with me in our truly sort of intimate moments which the world couldn't see, I saw you claim a lot of your feminine beauty, and I saw you feel so happy with that.
I totally agree with you, and I think we're both on the same page in terms of like, we love women, like for not just like sexual reasons or relationships, but women are beautiful sources of energy, especially for like a high achieving male or a masculine man. Having someone feminine around you is incredibly important, because women really breathe like a lease of life into men, which I think gets forgotten about in like the UK. Maybe this is a lot of guys' fault
in general, but it's the new culture of monk mode and be by yourself king and ignore women, and 100% I think there's value to go in monk mode and ignoring women for some time, but I think a lot of guys are beginning to live their lives like that, and I certainly have at some points too. And it's just how casually you said it to me like 1 week ago. I think it's great to have women around. I think we should always have women around us.
100%. Well, I just found personally that a lot of times women will bring out the better sides of me. If I spend too long alone, I can become quite hard and like calloused. When a woman's around, they just breathe that like nice lightness into you again. They laugh at the things you do. Like if you have a good relationship with a woman, she'll just bring out a nice side of you, like a light side, and they can really be I feel like women are healing creatures. I feel like naturally we are protectors, and women are healers. Re-energize, heal the warrior, and we go out to battle day in, day out for our purpose, and to come home and have that fair maiden or that princess that can heal you. It's incredibly important, and she needs you.
So you came here 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Obviously, you had dated back in the UK, and then you started dating here. What's some of the major differences that you felt so far?
Maybe it's a difference in my personality. Come to think of it as well, because when you come to a new place, you become a lot more free.
Yeah.
I became probably happier as well, because I was living out my dream. So the women I met since I've been here have seen a different side to me, and probably can respect me a lot more than women I spoke with in the UK. But on the other hand of that, I find like maybe it's just the weather or something, but dating in the UK is so cold and just so nervous. Like there's so much anxiety around dating, especially for me. Like in the UK, feel so nervous before dates. You're thinking about it all the time. It's so stressful. You come here and it's like a date is so normal. You just walk up to a girl and you're like, oh, do you want to go grab a coffee or see you like later this evening, whatever, and you meet up and it's like the normalest thing in the world.
Really true,
like feels so different.
It's mentally like a little bit fucky in the UK. It's not so much nerves in the sense that I'm like anxious, but there is a sense of anxiety with
for
it.
me, hugely, man.
Like I'd love to think I'm a confident guy. You definitely are, and like, but we're almost scared of like the women. Bro, this is gonna explode.
I'm fine badly, yeah.
Get the flame away from
it. Dear.
Yeah, no, I relate to what you're saying, actually. I feel the exact same way. Like, my usual dating experience, there is a mix of, like, anxiety in it. I've been thinking, is potentially the differences that we feel here based on just kind of sexual market value?
Let's say we're at home and we're in a town where people have known us for a while.
Yeah.
And the girls know about us and everyone knows each other. Things feel a lot more serious when you go on a date with someone. When you're seen out around town and you're with a guy, you want to make sure it's the right guy and you're not doing anything you might not do. So the girls are probably a bit more guarded and careful, because they've got more reputation to lose. And I think out here you meet a lot of people that you might never see again. A lot of people that have come to travel to let their hair down.
Yeah, that's very true.
But I do think in the way the women are raised here, once you do get into a relationship with a woman in the West, not all women but some, there's a lot of like, actually can't even say that because I've had the same here, like just some women, and my favourite type of women personally are women that are caring, kind, and they understand like the exchange of value between a man and a woman.
Absolutely.
They understand that if you're taking them out, looking after them, that you're there, like if anything happens on that night, it's my duty to protect that girl, she's with me. It could be as serious as giving up your life to save the woman, like you're going to be doing that for her. You have to protect her, you're her protector when you're with her. For me, it's like you want to take that girl out, treat her well. Some of the girls you meet understand that, appreciate it and reciprocate in terms of they will then do something just small for you in the morning. Like they might get up slightly before you and make you a coffee and bring it to you in bed, or they might go out and there's a bit of a mess from the night before and they clean it up whilst you're still asleep because you took them out and gave them a good time. And it's like, that doesn't have to be Western or Eastern or any type of woman. That's just like, some people do it and some people don't, depending on how they're raised and how they feel about you. But for me, that's like a major quality that I've found more here. I had found it in the West, in England as well, a couple of occasions.
It's more common. It's
more
not,
common here.
It's not very like special or weird here, whereas it would be a very significant thing back home.
Yeah.
Like we had my birthday party about a week ago, and it was this dynamic which, because me and Jack had been speaking about what we're talking about here, and we both invited like a big group of these Western like white girls who were like really, really beautiful, and then also I invited a girl who's a local here from Thailand. And the difference in their energy, of course, you know, this is biased because it's like you're looking at like a couple of people, so you can't scale it up and everything.
Yeah.
But just in this one anecdotal experience, the white girls came in with this sense of like self-entitlement, like just instant disappointment and like attitude, and like Sam said that they had like this kind of like energy about them where they knew they were like hot shit in a sense. They had some kind of like attitude, even though they didn't meet, they weren't horrible girls, they weren't insulting girls.
No, they weren't.
It was just how they are. It wasn't like they were different in any sense to like, you know, girls that we know from the UK. It was just the comparison between them. And we had like a couple of Thai girls there who were already there before these like white Western girls came in, and then another Thai girl that I had met came. And seeing the difference in the energy, where like the Thai girls, they were so like sweet and involved and like literally having a good time. Like one of the girls kept on like recording us, saying like, oh my god, everyone's like so hot, and like, you know, taking pictures.
So many
and,
handsome guys.
So many handsome guys. Like
just
she was
really
writing that, she
enjoying
was
it.
saying it, like having a good time. And the other girls were just kind of like looking a bit disappointed and like, oh like,
like waiting to be impressed. I felt we needed to put on a show of some
be
kind and
or some
be
shit,
monkeys
entertain them
and
shit,
do
like.
something. And I'm very much away from that now, in just like, I'll see if I vibe with someone, be very chill, polite to everyone, but just see if there's a vibe. And I just find more often than not with Thai girls, I just get this great connection with them, where we vibe really easily. They're so friendly and kind, and it's very, they put my guard down very quickly, where I can just be naturally myself. I don't feel judged at all. Like, they feel very comfortable. I think it could even be a situation of they've not grown up with a lot.
Yeah, of course.
They've not grown up with as much.
Yeah.
And it's just the simple fact that they are much more easily pleased, because they don't think so much about the top heights like a lot of Western women will.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this isn't good because of this and this, because we're not popping bottles of Dom Perignon and all that shit, and like that's what we need for a proper party, because they've thought about it.
They've got higher expectations.
Higher expectations.
It's understandable because of the nature of the sort of advancements of like feminism, and so women in the West bring a fair amount of like SMV, like sexual market value, but then they also work and make their own money, and so they're less like easily impressed. So it could be like, one of the things I've been debating about this is it truly a big difference between women in West and East, like different cultures, or is it based on somewhat of like value and where they are in life, because the women in the West make their own money, and so to make them very sort of feminine and submissive and on your side, you need to be like way more of a higher caliber of man. And potentially we're getting like this level of like beautiful femininity in the Thai girls here, because the money that they can make here is like a lot lower than what the white girls can make. So they kind of see you as they kind of should, even though it can seem kind of shallow. They can see you as like higher, because they can see, oh my god, you know, he's from UK and he makes money and he's staying in another place, so that's quite exciting for them. I have really kept this in mind for the last like 6 months, 9 months, of the masculine feminine polarity. There's a book that I keep mentioning, that it just constantly keeps coming back into my life. It's called The Way of the Superior Man, and Jack's read it, my friend Bill's read it, Sam's even reading it. Sam can't even read, so we just like show him the pictures, tell him to colour inside of the lines. But we've all read the book. It's like a beautiful book explaining masculine and feminine energy. And once I read it and I really started to understand like these energies inside of us, I started realising like how wrong we're all living in the West, because men are being encouraged to be more feminine, women are being encouraged to be more masculine, and that leaves everyone unhappy. Whereas places that haven't been as affected by these sort of like modern gender movements still have masculine men, feminine women, and I haven't looked at data. I'd be very interested to see like the sort of the data of like things like divorce rates and child like birth rates and everything in countries like Thailand and sort of Eastern countries that haven't been westernized.
I love the Way of the Superior Man. And
Very, very good book.
that book is all about like male and female energy.
Yeah.
And since reading it and then interacting with women, you can really have a fun time, and it's really brightened my horizons in terms of my thoughts of relationships with other women and how good a relationship can be. It teaches you basically how to understand a woman, because a lot of times women won't speak to you the way that they want to be treated. They'll just tell you something that's kind of like a bit of a shit test. So they'll speak to you. Our candle's gone out.
Yeah.
I can't speak when the candle's not lit. One thing you've got to learn very quickly, and the Way of the Superior Man teaches you, is that often when you talk to a woman, she's not telling you exactly how she wants to be treated.
Yeah.
She's giving you what's called basically a shit test, and oftentimes a girl won't even realise she's doing it. But she's testing your masculinity to see if she can get you to step out of your frame or get you to fold based on what she says. So she might ask you to do something, and she doesn't really want you to do it. She just wants you to reassure her and make her feel feminine again. So there might be an issue that she always moans at you because you haven't cleaned let's say the garage out yet. The garage is full of mess. You haven't cleaned it. She's asked you a few times. You said you're going to do it. You didn't do it. And you've been just lazing around watching TV. Now she's telling you to go and clean the garage right now, but what she really wants to see is that you're still aligned with your purpose. What she's upset by is the fact that you've said that you were going to do something and you didn't do it, and she's now scared and insecure that might lead into other areas of your life and you won't follow your purpose as a man. So your job there is to now not just go and huff and puff and go clean the garage because she asked you to, because she'll just think, oh my God, what a weak man, he can't even understand what I'm angry about. But she can't tell you this. You need to understand it yourself. And so you see that test and you go, okay, am I actually using my time productively at the moment? I'm watching a lot of sports on TV. I'm not getting much done. I'm having too many beers. I'm starting to get a little bit on the fat side. I've not cleaned the garage. Yeah, actually, she's kind of telling me I'm a bit of a mess. And then you need to realign with your purpose and understand your masculinity as a man. That's what you're being asked, for example, in a situation like that. And the Way of the Superior Man gives you so many examples of that across all aspects of relationships with a woman. And even myself recently, having seen women since then, my relationships with them are so much more joyous and fun and energetic and playful, and I feel like the man and she feels like the woman, and I just feel so much more aligned with how to have a good, healthy relationship with a woman. And for me, I'm not is it monogamous? I'm not monogamous. Now that I'm in Thailand with the girls that I see, I'm very, very open to the fact that I see a few different women, and that basically reading The Way of the Superior Man, you can navigate that in a way that everybody's pretty much happy with it, which I really didn't think was an option before. You'd be much more sort of steered towards lying if you were in the West, like just lying about it and like, don't make sure she doesn't find out. But you can navigate complete honesty as long as you're aligned with the right things and use some of the tips from The Way of the Superior Man, I think. And I've been a lot happier that way.
That's good to hear.
And I think the women I've been with have been a lot happier as well. So you never get like annoyed at a girl anymore, because you realise that none of it's really about you. Like, none of it's to nag you. It's to realign you with your purpose as a man. It's to test if you're masculine. So you should never ever be annoyed or angry at a woman for shit testing you, because it's her just asking and playing with you to say, okay, you still the man I want to be with. Are you still masculine? And you've got to show her every time. So you just see it as a challenge. Now I see it that way. So much more fun. Like, it's
and
been
that's
crazy.
actually like one of the best like pieces of value that a woman can give you, is that challenge, that test, because you can very easily get complacent by yourself or with the wrong women who don't test you or challenge you. So I'm interested, who do you think shit tests more? Who has shit tested you more? Women in UK or women in Thailand?
I didn't really know the concept of a shit test or what any of this meant. I was like completely blind to it all in the UK, and I think looking back on it now, some of the relationships I had in the UK, especially with long-term girlfriends, could have been way, way better and a lot more fun had I been the man I needed to be. Now I'm being more the man I need to be, and I've learnt about these things, and I'm living out pretty much my dream life, and I'm aligned with my purpose. My relationships are far better, and I've realised pretty much everyone will shit test you.
Yeah.
Every woman, no matter how sweet, and it's a good thing. You shouldn't run away from it. But before I did, before you hear so many guys complain, oh, my girlfriend or wife, she's always nagging me and shit. It's like, it's your life, buddy. I really don't think you should ever complain in that situation. It's like you either break up with her or you figure it out. Like, don't complain about it, her being nagging all the time and not liking her. Like, there's plenty of other options. And for me, like, you'd be more inclined to just, before, I'd be more inclined to just moan about it. But now I would never moan about any of the girls I see.
Could then the negative characteristics and traits that we're discussing that generally masculine Western women have, could that just not be shit tests that we're failing? It doesn't, like,
Doesn't
when
feel that way.
Yeah, it feels more like
Doesn't feel that
disrespect,
way,
and it feels
yeah.
more like cold and hot. It doesn't feel like even obviously it's not
Yeah.
very conscious in a woman's mind that
Yeah.
she's testing you, but it doesn't even feel like subconsciously
No.
the intention of like a Western woman's test or challenge is for your growth of masculinity
Yeah.
and realignment to your
Yeah.
purpose. It more feels like it's literally out of a lack of respect to you as a man.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the difference in, let's just go for like a one night pickup. One night hookup with a Thai girl, one night pickup with, for my experience, with the English women I've seen in Thailand. Pick up with an English woman through the evening, there's not that same, with the few women that I've been with that are English, for this example, where there's not been that same sexual chemistry. Very, very attractive women, but always keeping you on the edge of, are you good enough or not? Not giving you any sort of security or comfort in whether or not she really likes you. And that's kind of tough for me, to get in the mood sexually. Like, it's not turning me on when a girl's keeping me on that edge, that nervous edge. She's kind of going over to her friends, talking for a bit, ignoring you for a bit, coming back, shaking her ass on you for a bit, and you're like, oh, okay, maybe she likes me or whatever. And then she's fucking going somewhere else and come back and all the shit. And then at the end of the night, she like grabs your hand, she's like, yeah, come on, let's go. And you get in the car and she's like, she's a little cold still, and you're like, fuck, mate, it's the right thing to do. Like, she's come with me, I don't fucking know. And you get in the bedroom.
Even then there's resistance.
Get in the bedroom, even not resistance, but like just a lack of warming up, like a lack of getting me like, for me, like getting me in the game, like making me feel good about myself so that I can perform. Like, I'll literally have with the time I'm thinking of personally, it's like finally got in the door, there's been really no foreplay or flirtiness or kindness or whatever or compliments, and then she's just like, all right, get it out, come on. And I'm like, what the fuck? I need a little bit more than this. I'll give you the comparison to a Thai woman. Thai woman, you make eyes with them in the club, they look at you deep into your soul, they smile at you, and you can tell like she wants to be with you tonight straight away. She comes over, she asks you questions, she'll touch your arm, she'll then like start to hold your hand or something, and you walk around together, maybe go to a quiet spot for a bit.
Sorry bro.
Yeah, you'll go to like a quiet spot together, talk for a bit, play some pool. You'll flirt for a while, and there'll be that touch. She'll give you that touch barrier. She'll just show you with her eyes and the way she speaks to you that she likes you. May that be for one night or more than that, it doesn't really matter in my opinion. Like, we're not talking about working girls or prostitutes here, we're talking about genuine girls that just the way they react with you when you meet for one night, they're not gaining anything out of it apart from going home with you. And I just find that myself to be so relaxed, so comfortable, genuinely happy. I think the best thing that a woman can do for a man is make him feel like he has increased status. And Thai women do that very well, because they will stick by you. They look amazing, they'll dance on you, they'll make you feel like the man in the club, and then by the time you get them home, after the flirting, the foreplay with these women, you're ready to go. And you have like primal, animalistic intercourse. I find. Like, it's fantastic. And the reason why is because it's been set up properly, and there's that understanding of each other, and that actual raw attraction that isn't hidden. They're not afraid to tell you that they like you straight away.
It's a sexual polarity.
It's something.
It's
something fucking crazy.
That. The Way of the Superior Man book really talks about the importance of sexual polarity, which literally just means the man should be more masculine, the woman should be more feminine. And there's a couple of nights that really come to mind, a couple of like women and times that I've had with them, that there's certain women, and you spoke to me about this as well. So it's a sensitive thing, and a lot of guys won't talk about this, but I respect like how much of our confidence and sort of openness there is to this, where we've both had pretty significant periods of like our dicks not getting hard with women.
Yeah.
And we always wondered why, and you know, was it physical? And you went down more of like the Viagra route and everything, and I was like fully thinking mental problems and everything, like, you know, researching like performance anxiety, why is my dick not getting hard? You can have a full-on soft dick with a girl who's literally trying to make you hard, and it's just not really working. Whereas there's also times where I've had experiences with girls where literally just talking with them and eye contact gets me rock hard.
It's crazy.
I've noticed now, like I'm putting the dots together, the time when I'm like so turned on that literally just eye contact with a girl makes me hard, or like just a simple conversation, not even that much of a sexual conversation, is the time when like she's a very feminine girl, she's got so much feminine energy, I'm really in my masculine, and there's that polarity between us. It's like that unshakable raw primal attraction. You don't get that too often. And you know, I've lived in the UK all my life, and 100% the girls in UK are way more masculine than they naturally would be without social conditioning. And maybe this is why there's so many relationship and sex problems in the West.
I think so. And something you just said give me a bit of a revelation.
Yeah.
You can't be sexually turned on and attracted to a woman in terms of like getting hard for her if you're scared and anxious about being with her.
Yeah.
And if a woman is quite masculine, quite giving you the aura that she's quite powerful and judgmental in the way that she speaks, you'll find it very difficult to relax unless you're absolutely hammered. I found here I don't even drink anymore.
Yeah.
Like there's no way I could ever go on a date or see women back in the UK or come back from a club with someone without having at least a few drinks and pretty much getting battered to be able to take a girl home and sleep with her, because it was so nerve-wracking. Whereas here you feel so comfortable. Like for me, I don't even drink anymore really, maybe once a month. They're probably the worst times I have sex, when I'm sober and I genuinely connect. It's amazing, and I feel no nerves, and there's just something about that's really kind of special. And I think it is the feminine and the masculine, them allowing you to be the man and expecting you to be, and you have to fulfill that.
It's beautiful when you meet a woman who's feminine and you want to reclaim more of your masculinity. It's like it's automatic, it just fits, and suddenly you're just so much more masculine being around this feminine woman. It's like there'll always be this polarity inside of a relationship. There'll always be someone who's more feminine, more masculine, and so if you end up getting together with and spending time with a woman who's really feminine, you'll automatically become more masculine, because the feminine, let's say, focuses on the flow of love and affection. If she's focused on love and affection, then you don't have to be. So then you can be focused on mission and purpose. But if she's focused on mission, purpose, and work, then you'll find yourself more in the feminine. Like I've really found myself that when I'm spending time with more of a masculine woman, I'm way more feminine. I'm way more focused on the flow of love and affection and like create, you know, like enjoy it and all these like feminine emotions.
Yeah.
And when I'm with a woman who I can really tell, okay, has a lot of feminine energy, it's kind of like she's doing that thing to me. She's the one being really affectionate to me, and I'm kind of like accepting it and giving it to her. But I'm like, my mind is focused on my goals and my mission, and like she's attracted to me because of that. I feel awesome about myself because of that, and it feels like finally like I'm not the one who's obsessively like being affectionate to this girl next to me. She's the one doing it to me, and that feels better. Like I can think of a bunch of relationships I've been in where I've been more of the feminine person in the relationship because the girl's just naturally been quite masculine. And as much as I love and affection and intimacy, it's even better when it's the other person doing it to you than it is when it's like you, like, you know, focus on the girl and kissing her all the time. Like I want her to be focused on me kissing me all the time.
I think it's a better dynamic. I think you can have both. I think some men are naturally more feminine, and there needs to be that polarity either way. So a feminine man should be with a very masculine woman, because there needs to be that polarity. If there's not, and they're both the same or similar to a masculine man and a masculine woman, or a feminine man and a feminine woman, they won't have that same raw attraction. Yeah. And I think what we found a lot for guys like us in the West is we've been masculine men with masculine women. Yeah. Or women that are putting on a masculine persona. I genuinely don't think that many women in the West are masculine. I think that these same women, when they go on holiday and they meet a guy who there's a bit of a language barrier with, like an Italian or a French guy, I think they maybe get that femininity back because they don't have to talk to the guy quite as much. And I think they have probably a similar scenario happens for them when they go outside of England and find different men in different countries. that happens to us when we find different women here.
Yeah, that's a very,
I
very
think
good
that
point,
could
yeah.
possibly happen as well, and I think that because I've spoken to like guys from the Netherlands or guys from Italy, and I've asked them like, what do you think of British women? Because like me personally, I've obviously had relationships with them. Some of them are great, but for the most part, I find it quite hard to get along with them or have a really good time. And a lot of them have said, yeah, we love British women. They're so amazing and feminine, whatever. So
Yeah.
I think it can be partly just them being able to relax a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, we can't blame women for this because
Absolutely
I
not.
guarantee, like, the women who are watching this, the Western women who are watching this, and they're probably getting like a little bit pissed off at these misogynists.
Yeah, probably getting a little bit sad.
But it's like, I guarantee they feel somewhat of the same way. They feel like, oh yeah, well, Western men are weak and feminine and weirdly submissive and insulting and disrespecting, and they gossip and they're flabby and they've got low testosterone and they've got low leadership, and like what value is this guy providing to me when he makes less money than me and he's less confident in his social status? You know what I mean? It's like I don't ever blame women for what's happening in the dating market. I never even blame men for it either. I just think there's a big problem that we need to come together to solve. And I think perhaps the major way to solve dating problems, especially that we see in the West, where everyone's like depressed with dating and divorce is so high and people just don't want to get into relationships, women aren't having children till even above age 30, is because we don't need each other when we're depolarized. We're both feminine and masculine, so both men and women are feminine and masculine. We both bring both sides of the coin. Now we don't need each other, and so we're more empowered than ever, and yet we're more suicidal than ever because of that.
More sadder than ever, more depressed, people just unhappy and not having a good time, I don't think. And there's that saying, behind every great man is an even greater woman. Strongly believe that. Strongly believe that women are incredibly important to a man's success.
Yeah.
We just have to find a way to relax, personally, I think, back into our roles.
I really agree.
Men and women alike. Men need to, in my opinion, this is a strong opinion on this, men need to stop looking for the easy way out, for the feelings of comfort that you get by people telling you it's okay to be a certain way, and you need to grow a pair and get on with life and find your purpose. It's the only thing that in the end will make you happy. I think there's a lot of stuff going around in the UK where it's like, it's okay not to win, it's okay to do this, okay to do that, just be vegan and have your like
it wouldn't be Jack without a critical statement about vegans.
Just be a vegan, just eat your soy milk and fucking eat your estrogen and destroy your testosterone levels, and it's okay not to be strong, and it's okay not to have a fit body, and it's okay to watch TV, and it's okay to be fat. None of those things are okay, in my opinion. You should be striving to be the best version of yourself, or it's a disjustice to your family and yourself.
Totally agree.
I think you need to become the men you were meant to become. And yes, that's going to be scary, but you need to just fucking go for it. Because sitting in that blanket of comfort, where people have said, I think a lot in the West, oh, it's okay to be this way, it's okay to be sad, it's okay to not want to go and do that, you can just take a step back, you're going too hard. That's not okay. You can't tell someone who's sad and unhappy with their life that that's okay, because they'll relax into that. It's not okay, you need to change it and you need to become happy. It's not normal to be that way. There's a better life out there. And I think it's found through the teachings of like How to Be a Man, these books that we have started to read to understand the emotions of males and females. The reasons we have these power dynamics and masculine, feminine are all very, very important, and something we're not educated on. Since I've been educated on them, I've started to become happier and happier with relationships and with life in general. The guides are out there. On that quick note, Hamza, what would you say the 3 most influential books would be for somebody to read to understand these concepts about life?
The Way of the Superior Man by David Dida. Hard Times Create Strong Men by Stefan Ernio, R.I.P. And The Way of Men by Jack Donovan. You've not read that one, have you?
No,
That's
I
the
haven't
next
read that
on your
one.
list, yeah. What do you think of Hard Times Create Strong Men?
Incredible.
Really good book.
Really, really, really good book. Yeah, Where the Superior Man, incredibly very like deep, sort of to your soul, spiritual book.
Yeah.
Hard Times Create Strong Men is much more applicable in modern day. It's got a lot more practical use.
Less wishy-washy.
Less
kind of
wishy-washy,
language.
less
Just do the
spiritual
work,
language.
shut the
Like,
fuck up,
tells you exactly pretty much how you need to be, and it's probably right now, for me, it's unbelievable, but right now it would be a very controversial book. Like, people would read it and say a lot of it's wrong, and I think that's crazy because it's so right.
It feels wrong. That's what people would say. It's
Yeah.
like, to their feelings, it insults them, and so therefore it's wrong.
Yeah.
we live in this modern day where if it insults your feelings, then it's not okay.
Yeah.
It's wrong.
Yeah, and that's fucked up.
Yeah,
because
it really is.
just because something insults your feelings and makes you not feel okay doesn't mean it's wrong. And it also means that somebody else can't say it. Just like if somebody came to me with an argument about being a vegan and a feminist, I would have to understand and listen to it, even though it hurts my feelings. And there's no problem with that. And then I have the right and the opinion to be able to tell people what I think about things. And I think at the moment we just shoot each other down like, you can't have an opinion about that. That made me sad.
My feelings.
That hurts my feelings. It's like, well, that's okay. I didn't kill you or anything.
Yes.
So let's say,
But I might. If you fuck with me anymore.
there's a young man watching this who's like at the edge of his seat. He's so excited by everything we're saying. He wants to get more masculine, and he also wants to meet more feminine women, and he's become interested in this debate of like Western versus Eastern women.
Yeah.
What should he do now?
All right, this is what you should do. First, you need to think to yourself, what does the perfect woman look like to you? What does your perfect life look like to you? Because a lot of times we don't even know what we want. We think we want something else because we're dissatisfied. But if anybody asks you what you actually wanted, you wouldn't be able to tell them. So the first thing is you need to get deadly clear on what you actually want for your life and the type of woman you feel like you would want. Because once you know that, you can start to receive it. You know when you tell someone about a certain car, or you're thinking about a car maybe you want to buy, and then suddenly you see it everywhere, your brain works exactly the same way. It sees your dream life and it sees the woman you want and it starts to try and find it. So you focus on that purpose every day, read the books that you recommended to understand the dynamics, and that will help you with your pretty much every level of being a man. Is like purpose, your money, your fitness, your women, your relationships. It will help with all of those. And then once you've got that goal and you know where you want to get to, you try and get there and you just slowly put the steps into place. And I think that's a very healthy way for men to start now, looking for the right woman. And I think becoming the men they need to become. I think that's a great way of doing it.
I really like that advice, and it's similar to the advice that I've given out, which I've learned from a bunch of like old school success gurus, which is to set goals for all parts of your life, including your relationships. So there's a practice that a bunch of guys that I look up to, even Tony Robbins has done this, Grant Cardone, Jim Rohn, Brian Tracy, and they say to grab a journal and write down your absolute dream woman, like your dream partner, and do this for everything. So even your dream physique, your dream life, but let's say about your dream wife or the mother of your children. Write as many details, not just the basic shallow stuff of like, oh, she's 5'4" and she's got blonde hair, but like talk about her personality, talk about like 100 different situations. How would she react if she was absolutely perfect? The exact kind of energy that you would love to have. No limitations whatsoever, no matter what like your friends say, if it's unrealistic or anything, just write it down. And something magical happens when you write down goals and you really focus on them, just suddenly way faster than you think. You end up just getting it. You end up attracting that exact same thing that you've been thinking about. And I know this sounds like wishy-washy. I know this sounds like law of attraction kind of bullshit, like spiritual shit, but it's like, I'm a very like no BS kind of guy. It shocks me how magical this practice is of like setting very clear goals and visualizing on them specific things that you want. Really focus on them, and then you just stumble upon exactly that thing that you wanted.
I think it's very, very simple. You cannot find something if you don't know what you're looking for. And a lot of people don't know what they're looking for because life can be like stressful and quite a lot of suffering sometimes for the majority of people. So it can be hard to carve out the time of a very busy and stressful day to think about that brighter opportunity. But it is one of the best things you can do. And Hamza's done it. I've seen his list, his goals, his visualizations, writes out every single aspect of his life. For somebody who is talking about this stuff, Hamza really practices what he preaches to a T every day. That I've not met ever anyone in my life that does the same amount of reflection and journaling and looking at their goals and revisualizing and thinking about things as Hamza does, and it's clear in his success and what he's managed to create. So I think it would be a massive shame not to do that. Everybody should be doing that. Understand what you want, then you can be given it. That's rock and roll. That's the new rock and roll. Used to be drugs and partying, now it's journaling, visualizations.
Yeah, 100%.
It's fucking rock and roll.
We're finally doing like productive things which are actually kind of fun and good for us, instead of just going out and taking a lot of drugs and sleeping with like damaged women.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to be doing that. I've done it. It's like I can't even believe the person I used to be. I used to be such a mess, and it's crazy. how far you can come when you. I think you've really got to start respecting yourself and also believe you can make it. If you want to, any single person, if you put the effort in. The beautiful thing about life is the majority of people quit. So it's actually not that hard up at the top. You've just got to put the effort and the determination and the consistency in. And if you put that in, even if it's for a year, there's not many people that can do things for 7 days, myself included sometimes. If you can do something consistently for a year, you'd be surprised at the amount of progress you can make. So I really don't think anything's off limits for anybody out there, even if it feels like it is at the moment. You can beat everybody with consistency, discipline, hard work.
Totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Jack's just started his own YouTube channel, which is very, very interesting to watch a Chad in the making, or a current Chad. And your videos are very like autistic, but it's so fucking like fun to watch.
I'm an interesting character.
Yeah.
When you get to know me, I'm an interesting character. That's all I can say.
You have a lot to say, a lot of like polarizing
Yeah.
things to say. So I'm going to link Jack's YouTube channel and also his Instagram in the description. He talks a lot about making men strong again, especially things like testosterone in women. And you're spreading a very, very good message, man. From the moment of our first conversation, literally a minute into meeting each other, I found myself literally asking him like, oh yeah, like let's do a workout together, let's meet up again. And I'm not like that at all. I meet someone and straight away I'm like, you know, planning to do something with them. But I came home that day and I was like, yeah, like I can just tell he's a sick guy. I can tell he's base. I can tell he's like straight away you had my respect. Just you can tell when someone's on some good shit, can't you? It's just a frequency, like a wavelength that you can just feel. And I felt it right away. You've blown my expectations. We've been like really close friends for just even a couple of weeks, but it feels like we've known each other for a while now, like with the level of like comfort we have with each other, but also growth and challenge that's come from our friendship and the brotherhood that we've got here. Amazing meeting.
It's been awesome, man. Yeah, it's been really awesome. I appreciate this. It's been like it's felt like a long time, hasn't it? Like a lot longer than a couple of weeks.
Literally.
You've gotten so much done. It's been fucking cool. And big shout out to Hamza and Sam for putting me on the YouTube grind.
Yeah, it's awesome seeing you grow on there, man.
Mate, yeah. I really believe you should just be yourself, because as soon as I started being very naturally and authentically me, people like Sam and Hamza seem to like and vibe with my personality. And before, I think I've destroyed and not had friendships with good people because I wasn't being authentic. And I think you don't need to try and be like me, and you don't need to try and be like Hamza. Just be like you, and people will like you for your authenticity, because at the end of the day we're all a little bit fucked up, and that's all right.
So if you scroll down to the description right now and click on the link
come
up
follow
up
me.
there,
CEO
go see
of
Jack's.
Testosterone.
Yeah,
It's more monkeys, it's more gorillas.
gorilla shit.
It's testosterone boosting, it's becoming the man you want to become, it's fucking getting dialed in and just becoming elite. That's what it's about. And just doing all that with fun, with humour.
We'll wrap it up there. Do the hard work.
Stay golden, pony boy.
We'll try that again, bro. Do the hard work.
Yeah.
Wait, what's the end bit? Especially when you don't feel like it.
Oh,
Just
okay,
the
okay.
bit,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
Do the hard work.
Especially when you don't feel like it.
Mwah.